that users of the revolutionary generation of new weight loss drugs have reported feeling the same sense of judgment.
But why should people using a drug that makes them healthier ever be ashamed of taking it? Two This Morning viewers who have no time for that are Sheila Hogan and Sarah LeBrock, and they both join us now. Good morning,
Good morning,
ladies.
both of you.
Can I start off by saying you both look fabulous?
Thank you very much.
Very much so. Sheila, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your story and your relationship with food.
Yeah, so I have, for most of my adult life, yo-yoed with 6 stone on, 6 stone off.
Wow.
And I've probably done that about 4 or 5 times. I've tried every diet known to man and woman. And, yeah, nothing seemed to work. And last year, I was approaching my 60th birthday in January this year, and I thought... And I'd piled it all back on after losing it during lockdown. And I thought, and I'd had tests at the doctors, I was pre-diabetic, I was having lots of joint pain in my knees, I had lots of digestive problems. And I just thought, this is ridiculous. I have to do something different, and I have to do this once and for all for the rest of my life. I'm approaching 60, I can't continue to pile it all on, take it up.
Can I ask a question? Sorry to interrupt. When you lost all that weight and the effort and the discipline that it took to lose the 6 stone that you're going off and on, did you ever understand why you couldn't then maintain that and why it suddenly piled back on? Did it creep up on you? What was that?
Yeah, there seems to be, like, there's a... I mean, the research says that we've all got, like, a set point in terms of where your weight naturally sits.
Right.
And my set point was, obviously, it had never got reset to the lower weight.
Right.
So it
So it
was
just gradually
naturally just creeping back up. And, you know, I mean, I've got friends that have got, you know, a half a stone set point. So they might put half a stone on and then think, right, I've got to get it off. And that's the thing. Whereas mine was 6 stone before I even got to... You know, I've got to do this again. And there's a lot of emotion around, that as well.
So you're approaching your 60th and you think, right, I've got to do something now.
Yeah.
And that's when you decided you were going to try or investigate some of the weight loss jabs.
Yes, yes. I mean, I do follow Oprah Winfrey. I think she's fabulous. And I'd read that she had been taking the medication and it had done well for her. I also had some diabetic friends who, as a side effect of taking it for their diabetes, had actually lost lots of weight and were really, you know, healthy and fit with it. And so that's when I started to do the research, and I thought, do you know what, I think I mean, obviously there are risks with any medication, but I mean, I looked into it for me personally, and I felt, do you know what, the risks associated with it are far less than if I just carry on this obese journey.
So what did you do? Where did you find it? Because you didn't get your jabs on the NHS.
No, I didn't.
No.
I actually joined a programme called Second Nature.
OK.
And the reason why I chose them is because they were backed by the NHS, and they had a whole programme with a medical support team, digital coaches, etc. And you know, obviously, if you're putting something into your body, you want to be confident that it's bona fide, it's not, you know, and it's what you expect.
So it's one of the companies online that is approved to give out these drugs. You've got the pen that you bring. This is how you administer the jab.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about that process and also the difference? Because as Kat was saying, you look fabulous. How much weight you've lost, what that journey's been like?
Yeah. I mean, the process is you just inject the dose once weekly.
Just once a week?
Once a week.
OK.
It's a really small needle. I don't have a needle with me, but this is the pen.
Yeah.
And the needle just goes onto the end. Actually, there is one there.
Yeah,
there is
So
one there.
it's a tiny little needle.
Yeah, a tiny little
Let me
needle.
just hold that a sec. This might be a bit easier. If I hold that really still,
yeah,
can you see
I can
how
see it now.
tiny the needle is? I'm not sure if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just about. It's a tiny little needle.
And so you just administer that into your thigh?
You can, you can put it in your thigh, in your tummy, or in your arm. I found that the best place for me was in the back of my arm, and I alternate the arm on a, you know, week by week.
And let's have a look at this. Is the difference. How much weight have you lost, Sheila?
I've lost 5 stone 11 as it stands.
In how many months?
In 14 months. I started last August on the medication.
And my question is, how does it make you feel? how does it... Do you just not feel hungry anymore?
Yeah, I just don't feel hungry. I mean, initially, until your body gets used to the medication, there was nausea.
Right.
But that soon wore off.
Yeah.
And then it's just... And the reason why I went for this was because I needed to eat with normal food. I mean, I've done things before where you use food packs and drinks and shakes and all that kind of thing. And I thought, no, that is not sustainable long term. It has to be real food that I do this with.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, you've been listening to Sheila. I'd imagine that mirrors a lot your experience as well. Tell us a little bit, of your weight experience and weight loss journey.
Yeah, so from a dietary experience, the same. I've kind of tried every diet that was going. So any new one that came along, I was like, I need to try it. And I'd try it and I would lose weight. I actually went kind of one step further in the fact that I went on a weight loss TV show about 12 years ago.
Did you? Which one, can I ask?
It was called Fat the Fight of My Life and it was on Sky Living.
Yeah.
And this is where I was given a personal trainer for 2 hours a day, for 5 days a week, and then changed my diet. So during that time, they filmed me for about 9 months and I lost 8.5 stone in that period.
Goodness me.
And I went from doing like no exercise to doing an Olympic distance triathlon at the end of the program. So
whoa.
Pretty,
So similarly, Sheila, you lost all that weight.
Yes.
You worked so hard to do it. What happened after that?
Well, it was after the show finished and I continued training really hard because I'd enjoyed the exercise element and I thought, let's keep this going, that my weight started coming back on and I was a bit like, what's going on here? Because I'm doing everything everyone is telling me. I'm eating less, I'm moving more. So I started digging into the science because I'm a scientist by background. And so I wanted to understand why this was happening because I wasn't just going to accept it was just a moral failing of me.
Yes.
Like I felt like there was more to this. So I looked into the science and like Sheila talked about the set point theory, I understood about that and metabolic adaptation, which is where your body starts fighting to get you back to that heaviest weight. But it starts creating, like, making you feel hungry, craving certain foods, making you feel cold, so you eat to get warm. Like, it does crazy physiological things that you can't control. And that kind of blew my mind. And I was like, actually, this isn't actually my fault. There's like lots going on here that I can't control.
So then the idea for you about using one of these weight loss jabs seemed like an interesting sort of opportunity. Yeah,
because it's working on the physiological element of obesity, which we've never been able to do before. So diet and exercise, yes, calories in, calories out, that's the physics side of things. But when there's a hormonal imbalance going on in your body, it isn't that simple. And so what the medication does is regulate that hormonal imbalance in the gut and also in the hypothalamus in the brain. So it stops you kind of feeling as hungry, it makes you feel full quicker, and it stops you craving certain foods as well. So it literally has changed my whole kind of feeling around food.
So, Sarah, how did you get hold of the medication? Because I know it's quite often a postcode lottery as to whether you can get access to the medication on the NHS or not. So how did you access it and how did you do it?
Yeah, so I tried through the NHS and didn't have any success. And so I have got mine from an online pharmacy called Simple Online Pharmacy. And I chose them because they offer a lot of support around it. So they've got an app that you can use that kind of talks you through nutrition, psychological support, but also physical kind of, getting you active kind of thing. And they're always there at the end of the phone if you need to speak to someone or kind of get some support. So that's kind of why I went with them.
And can we ask how much you've lost in the time frame as well?
So I've lost around 6 stone, similar kind of time frame to Sheila. So sort of about 14 months as well,
And how are you feeling about the ongoing journey? Because you've done some dramatic weight loss with exercise and diet, which we're all told is the answer. What about the prospect of maybe stopping the injections, or are you on the injections forever now?
Realistically, you're going to be on the injections forever because obesity is a chronic condition and this is what people can't seem to understand. So therefore, it needs chronic treatment forever. So at the moment, we keep treating it with acute solutions, so like 3-month programs. But you wouldn't do that with hypertension, you wouldn't do that with diabetes, you wouldn't do that with asthma. So why are we doing it with obesity? So yeah, fundamentally, people will be on these medications or a version of the medications forever, to enable us to kind of keep that weight loss down. I mean, I still want to lose more weight, but I know for Sheila, she was saying that she wants to kind of like maintain her weight loss now, and so, but we know that we'll probably need to be on something.
Need to be on the medication.
And you're comfortable with that, though, Sheila, long term, about taking the medication and not worried about what that feels like?
Yeah, I mean, the research is such that, I mean, it reduces the risk of about 20 different cancers, of heart disease, of stroke, etc. So the actual benefits of taking it, are far greater than just the weight.
I mean, the one thing is the cost of it. And so if you are going to continue to take this for the foreseeable future, if not forever, have you thought about the cost of it? How much has it cost you to get to this point?
Oh, gosh, I don't know, cumulative.
How much is it a month?
You're between 150 and 200 pounds, roughly, depending on what dose that you're on.
Right.
But it can vary depending on which provider that you use. But this is why the NHS needs to make this accessible to people. And we know that the government this week have been speaking about, you know, making it more accessible for certain people, etc. And I really encourage that, because we do need to, you know, support people to get healthier and get access to these treatments, for sure.
Well, ladies, thank you for coming on and chatting about it, actually, because there shouldn't be a stigma with any of this. You're so eloquent on the subject as well, Sarah. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Really great to have you share your story.
Welcome.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.